This segment is brought to you by Les Stanford Cadillac Chevrolet in Dearborn, Michigan. Please visit lesstanford.com.
I promise I want to talk about Coach Izzo, but I always hear about Michigan State with you, but your journey actually started with Grand Valley.
It did.
So
It did.
I mean, honestly, I go to Grand Haven once in a while with my kids were little, and I used to, the camp, it's nice out there, man.
It's gorgeous.
It's very underrated. If you've never been out there, it's a gorgeous campus, and it's a gorgeous area.
And when I was there, the enrollment was 24,000. Now they're up to 28,000 because they've added on so much to that campus. And it's, you know what, Freddie, I tell people, even though I didn't graduate from there, I still hold a special place in my heart for Grand Valley State and Allendale, Michigan, where the campus is, because they gave me my chance. They gave me my start in college basketball. And, you know, when I was in high school, I was recruited by a lot of schools, universities. Michigan recruited me, Michigan State, Notre Dame, Wisconsin, Purdue, a lot of the MAC schools, Eastern, Central, Western, Detroit, and Oakland University gave me my first offer. So it was down to
Coach Campy.
Coach Campy.
Yeah.
And Coach Campy and my mom knew each other back in the day, and so I have a relationship with Campy. And so it was Oakland, Grand Valley State, and Michigan State is my final three. Oakland and Grand Valley State offered me full rides. Michigan State offered me a walk-on spot. Oakland pulled out because they offered my scholarship to somebody else. You know, still love Campy though; it's my guy. And
Talking about a guy who loves Portillo's, you know, you see him on
oh
Twitter.
yeah, I've seen it, man.
Yeah, there's a Portillo's coming to town, by the way.
He's gonna love that, man. So it was Grand Valley State or Michigan State, and I was torn because it's a full ride offer. This is something that was on my checklist, but it's Michigan State. It's a place that I've loved, and
absolutely.
so I sat down with coaches. I said, "Here's the situation," and he just looked at me like, "All right, I'm gonna tell you what's gonna happen. Like, if you come here, you're gonna have to earn the scholarship. I don't know when it's gonna be." He said, "But looking at your options, like, if you don't take a full ride scholarship, like, I may throw you out of my office right now." so he encouraged me to do it because he always knew that it was always my dream to be on scholarship, but he always knew it was my dream to be at Michigan State. And he said to me, you know, the scholarship changes everything for you. It changes everything for family, for you. Like, it gives you an experience that nobody else gets. So then I went on my official visit to Grand Valley State. I fell in love with the place. And this is how I knew I was meant to go to Grand Valley State. I walked around campus by myself, and it just felt like home. Because I always tell recruits, or whether it's high school athletes going to college, I said, you find the place that feels like home. You find the place that you walk around that campus and you go, this is where I belong. That's how it was with me at Grand Valley State. Like, I walked by the bell tower there, it went off playing the alumni song, and I was like, this is where I'm meant to be. And I loved it. It's out of the 5 years I had in college, the 2 years I had at Grand Valley State were two of the greatest years I had in college. Because I made a lot of great friends, met a lot of great people, whether it was the student athletes there, the current administration there, Tim Suggo, their athletic director, is now retired. Like, I made relationships with people there that I get to have for the rest of my life, and I'm thankful for Grand Valley State for that opportunity.
Your thoughts on your journey to Michigan State and your thoughts on Michigan State makes me think about Rudy. Now, I love Rudy, and I love watching that movie.
It's one of my favorites, man.
I mean, you know, you think about it, just from talking to you and now meeting you, they might be able to make a movie about you being Rudy for Michigan State. You ever think about that?
Oh, every day. Because, you know, Ray Weathers, who played for Coach Izzo back in '96, he came back my redshirt junior year and is finishing up his degree. And one of our managers came over and said, hey, you know what Ray Weathers just said about you? I said, no, what? He said he called you the Rudy of Michigan State basketball.
Yeah.
He said, you know how big of an honor that's coming, you know, from a guy who was one of the best players under Coach Izzo at the time? Yeah. I said, that's pretty cool. But, you know, I've always had that vision, Freddie, of my life story becoming in a motion picture. Like, I've had that. And, you know, right now I'm trying to get my book published, and I think that's basically the first step is you get that published, and who knows, maybe some screenwriter's reading it and going, I want to turn this thing into a movie. So that's also a big dream I have, is to kind of be the next generation's Rudy, if you will. Because, you know, as you knew watching that movie, that was our generation of an underdog. And I want my life story to be the next generation's underdog story.
Do you have a name of the book yet, or that's all still in the works?
So we have it, but I won't give it too much away.
No, it's okay. We'll get you on a later time.
Absolutely. So whenever it comes out, you know, I'll definitely keep you informed about it. But when it comes out, you know, I'd love to come back here, make another pizza, and have another conversation.
And by the way, when I watch Rudy, I've watched it 200 times. I still cry at the last.
It's a great scene.
The last episode.
It is.
When he sacks the quarterback. And then when you go on Twitter, people say, that wasn't a sack. I mean, come on.
He was offside.
Yeah, he was offside. Yeah, bingo. He was offside.
Like I've seen college game day signs whenever they do like Michigan, Notre Dame, Michigan State, Notre Dame. Like some student will have the sign, Rudy was offside.
Yeah.
So I'm like, man, come on.
That's probably somebody never even picked up a college book.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so that he was offsides. So now, your wife.
Yeah.
Your 2 kids. Where did you meet your wife?
So long story short, the year I transferred to Michigan State, I had to sit out because the NCAA has a rule where if you transfer, you got to sit out. But nowadays,
Not for long. Long.
Nowadays, if you get a lawyer, you could try and play right away.
That's a whole nother subject.
Seriously, we could talk about all day if we want to. But my mom heard about this salon where, you know, they do all these great things, you know, shoulder massages, you know, all that great stuff. So I went there, checked it out, and I enjoyed it the first time. I went back the second time around, and you know, one of the ladies that was there, she comes up to me and goes, "Hey, I got a hookup for you." And I was like, I don't know, like, you know, my old teammate and roommate at Grand Valley State tried to do blind dates with me a couple times. It just didn't work out. So she's like, "No, let me tell you about her." So all I heard was she loves Detroit sports. She's a big basketball fan.
There you go.
You know, she's 5'9.5", so because a lot of girls I tried to date, they were like 5'5" or shorter.
Yeah.
So anytime I could find somebody who's close to my height or, you know, within a foot of my height, like, I'll take it. And so I was
How tall are you, by the way?
6'9",
Right.
with a size 18 shoe.
There you go. Man.
So, but I love what I was hearing. I was like, well, I don't want to do any blind date stuff. Like, I want to see her. She's like, well, she has a client in her chair because my wife's a hairstylist. And it's like, she has a client, but you can go out there and wave to her. So I go out there. I took one good look at her. I go, yep. I said, we're going to make this work. And so I left my name and number on the back of one of her business cards. Her story was she was never going to call me because she was really shy. And so I was like, all right, I'll do the dirty work. So I went on Facebook, messaged her for her number. She gave it to me, and then we texted for like 3 hours, and then it turned into a 2-hour phone conversation. So we talked for 5 hours that night. And then we had our first date the day after Christmas. She drove up to East Lansing in blizzard-like conditions. We had dinner, we watched a movie, and then we stayed in touch, had another date on New Year's Eve, and that's where the rest was history. And then about 2.5 years later, I proposed to her in the dugout at Comerica Park.
How old are you again?
31.
31. See, I'm 50. So back in the day, if I got a phone number, we didn't have Facebook. we didn't have those luxuries to go on Facebook and find them.
Right.
Oh, yeah, we just had rotary phones back then. That's all there was back then.
And so for me, like, I kind of got lucky because, you know, if she didn't call me, it's like, all right, what's plan B then? You know, how am I going to do this? Like, do I go back to the salon and say, hey, let's go on a date?
Yeah.
But, you know, I got lucky there. And, you know, the fact I was able to propose to her at the stadium that's home to one of her favorite sports teams, you know, that made it even more special.
So let me ask you, did your girlfriend at the time, when your friends hooked you guys up, did she know about you? Did she know you were a basketball player? Did she know you had autism?
She knew I played at Michigan State because I wore my sweatshirt or shirt anytime I went to the salon. So she knew.
And she's a Michigan fan or Michigan State fan?
She's a Michigan fan. So I live in a house divided. So whenever they beat us in football, it's not fun.
That's not too often, but and I'm a Michigan fan.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
not too often.
So, but like, whenever the games are on, like either we'll go to the game or she'll stay home and then I'll go, or we'll be in separate rooms, because anybody who knows me, like, if Michigan State loses, I basically throw a fit because I know your passion for it.
Yeah,
I have a great passion for it, and I don't like losing to Michigan. Like, if we lose to Michigan in volleyball, I'm going to be mad.
Yeah.
If we lose to them in hockey, I'm going to be mad. So, you know, and I have a lot of friends who went to Michigan. Jordan Morgan, who played basketball there.
Mm-hmm.
J-Mo and I are really good friends now. But, you know, it's like J-Mo and I talk about, you know, the rivalry is always going to be there. But, like, as far as the respect for one another, it's, you know, that's the bigger picture right there. So, but my wife did not know I had autism until I explained it to her once we started dating. And luckily,
how long in was that? Did you, like, honestly, be honest, did you wait? Were you afraid to say that?
No.
Did you wait a time period? Like, let her love me first before I tell her?
Yeah, it was actually a couple weeks after we started dating.
Okay.
Because,
that's quick.
Yeah, it was, because I was not afraid just to look at her and go, all right, if if I may say things that are just out of the ordinary, that are quirky, here's why. And so I told her my full story from when I was diagnosed to the doctors and professionals till now. And where I got lucky again was she got her degree in education. So she worked with individuals, you know, who are on the spectrum in classrooms and schools in the area, in the Detroit area. So she had an idea, but she was asking me all these questions. You know, where are you at on the spectrum? I'm like, oh, I'm on the high end. I'm high functioning. And she started Googling.
Do we really know? Honestly?
Yeah. No.
You know.
No.
But
So she was Googling, doing all the research, and that's what I loved about her was that, you know, she didn't date me because I played at Michigan State. She didn't date me because I have autism. Like, she dated me because of who I am and how I love her and how I treat her.
Absolutely.
And so I got lucky. And, you know, even today, like, are there times where I still say things out of the ordinary, or she tries to joke and be sarcastic and I can't catch it? Is it frustrating at times? Yeah. But we still walk away from those situations, and my wife will do it and go, you know what? That's my husband. That's just who he is. That's why I love him. And so, but I'm very blessed. And then the fact that I got two handsome boys, healthy boys who are, you know, my 5-year-old's a monster. He's close to 4 feet tall. You know, my wife measured him the other day. He grew another ½ inch. And so he's about 3'11", close to 4 feet.
Wow.
And he weighs 65 pounds. And starts his second season of basketball here soon, and so he's just a monster.
So I'm thinking she's your soulmate. I mean, because that's why I asked you the question. Did you wait a while to tell her? You waited 2 weeks, so actually that's not enough time for a relationship to grow. And if she didn't have the passion and love for you, she could have easily left.
Yeah, she could have.
So,
That's what happened with other girls I dated, Freddie, was, you know, she was like my first true serious relationship, where others, like, I just went on dates and then that was it.
Yeah.
But, like, there were a couple times where I went on dates and the whole, oh, tell me something about yourself that people won't know. And I just threw it out there. And then all of a sudden, I'm not hearing the phone calls or the text back from the people I went on dates with. And that's when I was questioning, all right, am I really going to find somebody who's going to like me for me and not worry about the whole autism piece or the whole college basketball piece? And the fact that I did find somebody, like, I mean, that's the man upstairs looking out for me.
Oh, absolutely. She's your soulmate, and we've all had girls not call us back either. So you're not the only one. So now, two boys, right?
Yep,
2 boys.
2 boys. Yep.
Now, did it cross your mind? Did you guys have a conversation?
Oh yeah.
Say, hey, we have kids. There could be a chance.
Yep. We always had that conversation, especially when my wife Kelly was pregnant with our oldest son Knox, and then Nash is our 2-year-old. We always had the conversation about, you know, the what if conversation. I said, well, here's the deal. Like, if it does happen, then guess what? He's got 2 grandparents in Okemos, Michigan, who dealt with this for 20, 30 plus years. And I have connections in the autism field where they can point us in the right direction as far as like resources and therapies and treatments, all that stuff. But how my kids are growing up right now, I mean, I don't even see anything. And so, again, I don't know if that's, you know, just, I don't know. Like, because again, I had my friends ask me the same question, like, well, what if? It's like, okay, well, you can't live the what ifs. Like, if it happens, it happens. Then you have to just live in the here and the now. And then, because I have 3 nieces. My wife's, so my sister's twins. So my oldest niece is the same age as my son Knox. So they're both 5. And then the twins are 2, same age as my youngest Nash. Both of them were diagnosed a year ago. And when I heard about that, it kind of hit me a little bit. It's like, oh man, like my nieces are on the spectrum, but I went to work. I texted my sister. I said, hey, call so-and-so. Here's so-and-so's email. Talk to them, and they'll help you get in the right direction of what you need to do.
And it's not common in girls. It's more common.
No, it's more common in boys.
More common in boys.
And so when they were diagnosed, like, just to see where they were when they were diagnosed to where they're at today, I mean, they're talking more, they're interacting with people more. And a lot of it has to do with the therapies and the treatments they're doing. And
Absolutely.
if this was 20 years ago when I was diagnosed, that doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. But now, because people are more aware of it and want to get on top of it a little bit more, it's been a miracle.
When I spoke with Eddie on the previous episode, he would say 20, 30 years ago that the kids with autism, we didn't know then, would be pushed to the side.
And because there was no path for them.
There was
no
no path for it.
If you or your family is touched by autism, learn more about Fredi's Foundation at #PopTheTap. at FrediThePizzaMan.com. That's Fredi, thepizzaman.com, or email FrediThePizzaman@gmail.com.
All right, Anthony. Now we got to talk about Tom Izzo. Again, I told you I'm a Michigan fan, but I'm a huge Tom Izzo fan. I was always a Mark D'Antonio fan. I just love college sports in general.
Yeah.
You have respect for guys that win and do great things. And did you see? I know it. Well, I know you saw it, the rant with Tom Izzo the other day. He goes, whoever's messing around with my players on Twitter, I'm going to buy your tickets.
Yep.
Yeah, he does not like social media.
He hates it, man.
Yeah.
I mean, there were even times where, we had meetings and he would just go into Twitter like, you know what? You guys stay off Twitter. I don't care if it's during the season or whatever, but that stuff is just poison. Like, there's a reason why I don't want to ever be on it. Because, like, somebody was saying the other day, like, oh, John Beilein, was fired by Cleveland, and Tom Izzo followed him on Twitter. I go, Coach Izzo doesn't have Twitter. Like, he refuses to get on social media.
Yeah.
But, because he's always caught up with the whole, why would you say something on the internet about somebody instead of saying it to them? And, and that's what kind of like got me into the whole anti-bullying stuff too. Not just because of my story growing up being bullied, but just kind of how he talks about, if you're going to say something to somebody, like say it to them. Don't hide behind a computer screen. And so, but he's always protecting his players. And so when he was saying that, Freddie, I was like, yeah, he's looking out for us. That's how he is.
I've read a few times about you that you were bullied because you were tall.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense to me, because if I'm in school, why would I want to pick on the tallest kid? Why would I pick on the tallest or biggest kid? Because he just might lay me out. Right. Or is it something where maybe they picked on you and say, well, if I can pick on him and win, I beat up the picked on the biggest guy.
That was basically the mentality of the people who bullied me in middle school, because a lot of the guys that bullied me weren't even half my height. Like, they were the little guys. And so, but I think that was the mentality. Hey, if I take down the giant over here, it's like David versus Goliath. If I take down Goliath, I'm going to look like the man compared to
little man
else.
Syndrome, sometimes you hear. The short
guy
I've
syndrome.
Heard that.
Yeah, I've heard that. But, but again, where I got my revenge was in sports. Because my father always taught me, your retaliation should not be with your hands, your feet, or your mouth. Your retaliation should be within the rules of sports. So if those guys played me in basketball, they were in trouble. And one of my bullies had to play me in Little League basketball. He had to guard me the whole game. I dropped 20 points on him.
Great.
And then I go to school Monday, and to go shake his hand, just say good game, because I just want to put everything behind me and move on. He just looked at me and said, I'm done. Like, I want nothing to do with you. Like, I know what you're trying to do. I respect that, but I'm done. And so
you took the high road. You did the right thing.
It's like Michelle Obama always says. When they go low, we go high. So
absolutely.
But yeah, and that's what I was always taught by my parents, was that you try to beat people with kindness, put a smile on your face, smile back at them, smirk at them, because it annoys them, and it does. I've managed to win that way, but I was always taught that violence isn't the answer. There's bigger and better ways to overcome your bullies in life.
So how was it playing for Tom Izzo? Did you play in the Final Four?
2010 I went to the Final Four.
2010?
Yep.
Okay. Did Michigan State? How far did they go on that?
So we lost.
I'm mixing up the years.
We lost to Butler in the semi.
That's
so
right.
2009 was when they were out here in Detroit.
Yeah, Butler went to the final.
Yes.
Because matter of fact, I watched that game. They played Duke.
Yep.
My daughter was born.
Gordon Hayward almost hit that half-court shot at the buzzer. But a lot of people, there's a picture of Draymond putting up a shot on Gordon Hayward, and Hayward's got his hand on Draymond's wrist, and they didn't call a foul. Yeah. So if that foul is called, we go up 2, and then if we get a stop, we're probably playing for the national championship against Duke. So, but just to, the experience I had under coaches of Michigan State was, to this day, one of the greatest experiences I think I'll ever have in my life, because the places we got to go, the people we got to meet, the things we got to do. I mean, you can't do those things anywhere else. I mean, for example, my senior year, we played on an aircraft carrier in front of the men and women of our armed forces who are the real heroes of this country and who protect us. Yeah. Got to meet President Obama and the First Lady. That was really cool. Brooklyn Decker and Pamela Anderson were sitting courtside for that game.
That's not bad.
No, not at all.
Not bad.
And then, Magic Johnson was there, Vince Carter, James Worthy. But the coolest thing we got to do after the game was we took our jerseys off and gave them to the wounded. And that was Draymond's idea. North Carolina just went with it. But that was probably the greatest experience ever. And you couldn't get that anywhere else but Michigan State. And Coach Izzo, he coached over in Kuwait, for a summer. They took the USA teams out there, and he got to coach and meet all those troops out there when we were doing our war in the Middle East. And so, but he wanted to do something like that, him and Mark Hollis, our athletic director at the time. And, I was a part of 2 Big Ten championship teams. But the one thing that will always stand out with my relationship with Coach Izzo is that when I transferred from Grand Valley State, I had all these different colleges, calling and saying, we want you to come here. I had a couple offers, but everybody knew where I was going to go, where I was going to end up. And I sat down with Coach Izzo. We had a meeting, and I told him I want to come here. I want to play for you. And he just looked at me and said, all right, here's the deal. I'm going to push you like you've never been pushed in your entire life. But here's the other thing. Just because you have autism does not mean I'm going to treat you differently. Yeah. I'm going to treat you like how I would with every other player here. I'm going to treat you how Magic Johnson was treated. I'm going to treat you how Steve Smith and Mateen Cleaves and those guys were treated. I'm going to treat you the same. Did
it ever cross your mind where, and I know your love for Michigan State, but did it ever cross your mind, like, if I would have went to, I'm just going to pick a school, Eastern Michigan, you could have played more minutes, and who knows from there? Does that bother you at all, or do you think about that?
No, it doesn't, because I've had kids, like even students, that have commented on my pictures on social media saying sometimes you didn't play any minutes, like you didn't score any points, yada yada yada, like your career was a dud. I go, all right, well, guess what? I ended up being on full scholarship my senior year at Michigan State. That's something I always wanted, and it's like the movie Rudy. His role was to make his teammates better and to be, the guy everybody hated playing against. That was my role. Yeah. So Draymond hated playing against me every day because I took charges on him every day in practice. Yeah. Adrian Payne hated playing against me because I was so physical with him and I elbowed him just for fun sometimes. Derek Nix from Detroit, Nix was the same way. Like those guys, I wanted to make sure, hey, I'm going to make you better because I want you to hate playing against me because I make you better every day.
They need to send you a check. Say, hey, here's a check for making us better. Well, you definitely made us better.
That was always my goal. And, excuse me, like that was always my goal, was to make my teammates better, because if I wasn't going to do my job, we weren't going to win. And so I had the chance to play more my senior year, but, and Coach Izzo told me that when he put me on scholarship. I said, well, Coach, here's the deal. Like, I can go in games, play like 2-3 minutes a game, but they may not mean a whole lot. To some people, it may, but to me, like, I care more about winning and making my teammates better than I do playing in a game. Yeah. And so that's why, like, whenever kids look at my stats, I tell them, I'm like, hey, you want to judge me on something? Judge me on my character. Judge me who I am as a person. Like, try to go on Google and find dirt on me. You won't, because I always tell kids, like, I'm not bragging when I'm saying this. Like, I'm just telling you, like, that's just who I am. And because I cared more about being on scholarship and graduating and winning basketball games than I did scoring the game-winning shot. Have there been times, though, where I look back and go, oh, man, if I would have committed to Oakland this early, I could have played with our all-state point guard from Oakland High School. We could have played together for 4 or 5 years. Do I think about that? Yeah, I think about it. But
who was that?
So it was Jonathan Jones.
Yeah.
So Jonathan Jones, school's all-time leading assist leader in Oakland history. JJ and I, JJ's one of my guys, and he took me under his wing when I came on varsity my sophomore year. And I had always teased the idea of, hey, you committed, maybe I should commit. Maybe we should go Kobe Shaq at Oakland University, become this great duo. Are there times I think about that? Yeah. But do I dwell on it? No. Because everything worked out in the long run for me. Just like Grand Valley State. Do I look back and go, man, I wish I would have had 2 more years there? No, because I did things at Grand Valley State that I probably couldn't have done at Michigan State. For example, my freshman year, we go 36-1. We were the first undefeated team in the regular season in Michigan college history in the state, and we beat Michigan State in exhibition. We beat them at the Breslin Center. So I'm 1-0 lifetime against Coach Izzo. That's something that nobody else gets to say in life. Yeah. But my parents also taught me to never have regrets in life, because if you have regrets in life, they'll just eat at you every single day. And so anytime I wake up and go, you know what, I wish I could have played more, it's like, no. everything worked out for the best.
Yeah, your parents molded you right. That's for sure.
They did.
So let's get into a little rapid fire. Have a little fun.
Let's do it.
And I've been dying to ask you this one for sure. So when I say U of M, what do you think?
Oh man, you had to go with that one.
we can edit some of it out. That's okay. Don't worry about it.
Oh man. What do I think about when I hear about U of M?
How about if I just narrow it down to say U of M basketball? Because, well,
You know, if you would have asked me this question when Beeline was there, I would have said respect.
yeah, because when you left, Michigan basketball started getting was a lot better.
And Beeline did it the right way. I'm not saying Juwan Howard's not doing it the right way or anything, but like there's more respect there, you know, when Beeline was there. But it's like Draymond said one time, and I agree with him. You know, I don't wish any bad things on that university, but I hope they lose every single game in every single sport.
Well, it should be. It should be a respectful.
Yeah.
It's a respectful. The word I'm trying to use, but it's supposed to be respectful.
A respected rivalry. Yeah.
Respected rivalry. That's what it should be. And you know, everyone's gonna say things because you want them to lose. But if you say it respectfully, there's nothing wrong with that.
It's like Coach Izzo said, and I use the same terms. You know, are there a lot of people at the University of Michigan that I like and respect? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean I don't have to like them.
Yeah, I mean, look at me. I'm a Michigan fan. I respect Tom Izzo and Mark D'Antonio. You know,
and my wife's the same way. Like she, you know, I was blessed where she went to all of our games in rock, green, and white. You know, when we played Michigan, she'd wear Michigan State, but like in her heart, like she still tried so hard not to cheer for Michigan whenever they scored. So I understand that. But you know, my dad grew up in Dexter, which is 10 minutes from Ann Arbor. So about 3/4 of my family are Michigan fans.
Yeah.
So I dealt with all the bragging rights every year from when Lloyd Carr dominated all those years, and then Mark D'Antonio turns them around, and then it's like, oh, now we get you back, and now you're getting us back. And it's like, but that's what makes this rivalry so great is that you want to be with the Dukes and the North Carolinas of basketball.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
With the Alabamas and Auburns in football. Like, that's what we want. And Mark D'Antonio did all that, and Jim Harbaugh is starting to do all that. Because now it's not just another game to either Michigan State or Michigan. It's a rivalry now.
It's good for both teams to be healthy.
Exactly.
It really, because you North Carolina and Duke.
Yep.
Quickly on Beeline, what were your thoughts when he left?
I was surprised.
Yeah.
Because this is a guy who I know was in the running for the Pistons job a couple years ago, but you know, knowing how the business works, part of me was like, all right, guy wants to get paid. I understand that. I mean, look what he did the previous year, took him to the Final Four, and so
he found out about his heart. If he would have taken the Pistons job, you never know where that would have went when he found out about his heart problems.
But I understand like where he was coming from with like the whole recruiting and everything. Like, I mean, because who knows what some of these schools are doing? Who knows what like the Kansases and the Dukes of the world are doing to get those kids? Like, we don't know. But I understand that. But when he left, I told my wife, I said, you know what? I never played for the guy, but this is a guy my senior year who we beat him at our place. He goes through the handshake line. He shakes my hand, but he doesn't walk past me. He pulls me toward him and says, I just want to let you know that I'm glad you got into the game today because Tom tells me how much of a hard worker you are in this program, and I really respect you for that.
Yeah, I've never met him, but he seems like just a class act.
He really is.
So when I say Godfather 1 or 2?
Oh, 1.
1?
It's hands down. Like, you know, I love sequels, but nothing beats the originals. Nothing beats the sequels.
Well, here's one. Rocky 1 or Rocky 3? Forget about 2. 1 and 3.
Oh man.
2 was good too, but 3 was pretty good.
You got to put Rocky 4 in there, man. I mean, because when he goes on that mountaintop and screams Drago.
Absolutely.
You know what? I got to go with again, you got to go with Rocky 1. I love Mr. T and what he did in Rocky 3, but again, the originals, man.
Yeah, Rocky 1. Give me a player in college, one of the great players you played against in college, other than a teammate.
Kyrie Irving.
Kyrie Irving.
So we played at Duke my redshirt junior year, and he went off for 30, and they beat us by 5. But I remember just watching him and just seeing how great of a player he was, and for me to be able to say that, tell my kids that, hey, your father got to witness and go up against not 1 but 2 number 1 draft picks. I played against Derrick Rose in high school. That was a treat. That was just watching him and what he did at 17 years old was incredible. So for me to be able to say, hey, Knox, Nash, say to my 2 sons, Daddy got to play against this guy and against this guy. That's what basketball and sports and opportunities can provide for you. But it was truly a blessing. But just seeing what Kyrie did, it was just incredible.
Irving was there 1 year at Duke,
Yep,
right?
1 year at Duke.
Then he was the number 1 pick by
Cleveland.
Toughest road venue in Big Ten.
Oh, man. Purdue, Mackey Arena.
Yeah, you hear that a lot.
It is. And, I say it because what I love about Mackey Arena is that anytime they score a basket, the place just goes nuts. And then when their fight song plays, like everybody's standing, singing in unison. And then, but not far behind it is the barn in Minnesota because everything echoes off of that wall and it makes the place even louder. But there's just something special about Mackey Arena.
Yeah. Now, at Michigan State, if you needed U of M to win a game to give you a better lead in the conference or better seeding to get into the sweet, what do they call that? The
tournament.
The tournament.
Sweet 16, yeah.
Would you root for U of M?
It would be tough, but
now if they won, it would help you maybe go from 3 to 2.
Oh, we'd say thank you. We'd say thank you and then walk away.
Oh, so you wouldn't root for them, you would just say thank you.
Yeah, we'd just say thank you. Because I know, I think it was my junior year. No, it was my senior year. Michigan they were playing Ohio State in the Big Ten tournament semis, and Ohio State had beaten us the previous week at home. So it was either play your rivalry again or play Ohio State that just beat you on senior day to tie for the Big Ten conference. So we were like, all right, it's a win-win, but Michigan loses, we go, thanks for nothing. All right, we're going to go beat Ohio State now. Yeah. But they would have beaten Ohio State. It's like, all right, thanks. We're going to beat you now.
You just can't make that public. You have to keep it in.
No, you got to keep it in the house. Keep it in the house, man.
No locker room material.
Exactly. But at the same time, you don't want to put yourself in that situation. You want to handle your business to where it doesn't come to that.
Yeah, like the Detroit Lions. You want to control your own destiny. Yeah,
exactly.
So who wins in Detroit sports? Who wins the next title in this town?
Red Wings.
Red Wings, huh?
Because I love the fact that we got Yzerman back at home and his track record at Tampa Bay speaks for itself. And he's got a good young core of guys. They're going to get the number 1 pick. So I think in about a couple of years they'll be back in the playoffs and then they'll be contending for the Stanley Cup. And watching NHL playoffs over the last couple of years, Freddie, it doesn't matter what seed you are.
Oh, I know.
If the puck is going your way and you got the hot goaltender, you're good.
Well, you speak of Steve Yzerman. I'm a big fan of Steve Yzerman, but I remember when he was drafted. But you speak of it doesn't matter what seeding you are. Last year they were the number 1 team by far, the President's Cup, and they got swept in the first round.
Yeah.
So while Yzerman did well in Tampa Bay, he was there 8 years. He never won.
Yeah.
This town, if you don't win a Stanley Cup, eventually, they're not going to be too happy.
And I think that's what having a guy like Steve Yzerman here, I think that's why he understands it because he played here, he understands the fan atmosphere, and so he knows there's pressure on him to bring the cup back to Detroit. And I really do believe he's going to succeed because he knows the game well, he knows a lot of players, a lot of talent, and he knows what this town wants, and that's to win a championship.
Last couple for me. If you're watching TV, you turn on the History Channel or the Food Network.
Oh, the Food Network, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because when I grew up, I loved watching a show called Man vs. Food.
Oh yeah,
and
still on, I believe.
Oh yeah, and so just seeing all these different food challenges, and I joke with my friends, going, "Hey, let's go to this place in Pennsylvania and take like the giant burger, or the giant pizza challenge. Let's just have fun." And so that's like one of my bucket list things to do one day is just go to some restaurant, find like a food challenge, and see like how much I can actually do it. But definitely the Food Channel.
So you're a golfer.
I am.
You're a young guy. Tiger Woods. You think he breaks Jack Nicklaus's major record? Let me see. Jack's got 18.
He needs 3 to tie, 4 to break it.
Is it 3? I thought it was 2, but maybe you're right.
Yep. So honestly, Freddie, I think part of me really wants to see him break it. But if anything, he's either going to tie it or come up one short.
Yeah.
But I love watching Tiger.
Did you watch I'm a big Tiger fan. Did the Masters last year?
Oh yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Like I woke up at 9 a.m. when he teed off, and my wife came downstairs. She goes, "Why are you watching this?" I said, "Because it's Tiger Woods. It's the Masters. Like who doesn't watch the Masters?"
The thing about Tiger Woods, the Masters, what I caught from last year, the Masters, was you play basketball. You're a competitor.
Yeah.
That all the players that he beats were high-fiving him at the end.
Yeah.
And I thought it was kind. I mean, these guys are all trying to win majors, and Tiger just beat you, and you're all high-fiving him. I thought it was kind of interesting because
It was.
you're trying to beat this guy, and he just beat you, and you're high-fiving him.
Yeah.
That would not happen. Jack Nicklaus back in the day, that would not happen.
No, it would have. But I think because of how much Tiger Woods means to the sport of golf. I mean, the years he wasn't playing, and I looked at the numbers, everything, ratings were down, attendance was down, because when you think of PGA or the PGA in golf, you think of Tiger Woods because of how he dominated all those years in the 2000s, and then, he got hurt, and then he had issues with family, but then he's getting his life turned around. He wins the Players' Championship before the Masters. I mean, you saw that big crowd that was following him. It literally was a scene out of Happy Gilmore where Happy wins the gold jacket and everybody just rushes the green.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like. And then he wins the Masters, and to see those guys high-five him and hug him, it shows you how much those guys respect Tiger and how much he means to the game of golf. It's like Michael Jordan. When Michael Jordan retired from the NBA, back in the early 90s, mid-90s, it was different. And then he comes back, and guys were happy again because he brought that competitive edge to the game. And then it just rubbed off on the guys again. So that's what you call respect, though, and that's what life should be about.
So my last question to you is that if an actor were to play you in a movie, which we talked about earlier, if they end up making Rudy Part 2, but for Michigan State, what actor would you pick?
Oh, man. Oh, that is tough because
I know you mentioned one to me. I don't know if you would pick him, but you want me to say the name?
Yeah, go for it.
The Rock.
You know what? I love Dwayne Johnson. I mean, if Dwayne Johnson could play a younger me, I'd do it. I'd say, hey, Dwayne, go do your thing, man. Or I've always told my wife, I said, for whatever reason, if The Rock wanted to play my father in my movie, I'd be all for that.
There you go.
But I've also said Bruce Willis was another one.
There you go.
That's another one.
You got to put a lot of makeup on him to make him look young.
I mean,
but
John Travolta, because I know he had a goatee and a bald head one time.
Yeah.
God, there's just so many. Or, I don't know if it could happen, but maybe it could. Bradley Cooper.
There you go.
Be another one. So
There you go.
So there's a lot of good choices out there, but at the same time, I got to look at it and go, all right, I need guys who are in their early 30s, early 20s, or late 20s to play me. But
some young Italian guy.
oh yeah, some young Italian guy, man.
There you go.
Who could rock the goatee and the bald head.
Pleasure meeting you. Thank you so much, man. It was an honor to have you here.
Thanks for having me, Freddie.
All right. Thanks,
Appreciate
Anthony.
you.
Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac is a family-owned and operated full-line Chevrolet Cadillac dealership located in downtown Dearborn, Michigan. For the past 50 years, Les Stanford has been dedicated to excellent customer service in sales, service, and auto body repair. We have all the resources available to make a fantastic car buying and servicing experience. This includes a massive selection of Chevrolet, Cadillac, and certified pre-owned inventory to choose from, free loaner vehicles for service and collision center customers, and a finance source for every type of credit situation. Come experience the Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac difference today by visiting our showrooms in Dearborn, Michigan, or shop online at lesstanford.com.